7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Welcome into another edition of the Vegas Squares podcast, our golf betting podcast, still with a working title name at the moment. We are still looking for anyone interested in naming our podcast. We will give you some free swag. What's up, gentlemen? It's Memorial Weekend. It feels like a major.
It does.
Jack's tournament, baby. Milkshakes in Ohio.
No fans, though. No fans can get milkshakes, so sales are going to be down on the milkshakes.
Fine.
True.
Fuck 'em.
Well, there's that, yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Well said. I don't know. I will say this, though. I don't think I've ever seen the anticipation of an upcoming podcast as much as this one over the last 3 or 4 days. And usually it's like me, the crazy golf nerd that's like jonesing out for this. It was the three of you over me like this week. The anticipation here, I'm actually pretty jacked, too. You've got me excited about it as well. So this is great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, the group text has been lit up since Morikawa brought home the win. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I agree. It is.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the workday here real quick because it is the second of 2 weeks at Jack's Place, this being what many would agree to be the tougher of the 2 weeks. But first, let's thank a few sponsors here. First and foremost, obviously, 12 Ounce Sports. Got my new 12 Ounce Sports t-shirt here, boys. A little swag.
Nice.
Cool. Our podcast is sponsored by 12 Ounce Sports, where we are broadcasted in both audio and video formats. You can check out all the shows at 120zsportsnetwork.com. Make sure while you're there to check out the sports store again, where you can find everything from t-shirts to golf polos, coffee mugs, and beach towels and much more. I got my golf polo in too. I should have worn it today when I played, but it's like a Nike, but it's like a polyester blend, so it's not like the super dry fit ones, and it's too hot for that shit right now, so I have to break that out in the fall. But while you're there, again, visit 120zsportsnetwork.com today. And I'd like to introduce our newest we got a couple new sponsors, actually, but first off, introduce one of our newest partners here is Fanatics.com. If you are looking for gear for that sports fan in your life, Fanatics has got you covered. Every team, every league, they've got the apparel and merchandise to ensure that you and yours are showing your team pride each and every game day. Sports are returning token, and that means you'll definitely need the newest gear. We have our own affiliate link, which we will be posting in many locations, so please use our promotional link when you shop. It'll be helping out the podcast, helping out the station tremendously. I will post it on our YouTube channel. Every video we have, it'll be on the YouTube description. It'll also be on the sponsors page at lvsquares.com. Or if you want to get the email, or if you want to email us at vegassquarespodcast@gmail.com, we will happily provide it for you. Again, we appreciate your support, and pick up your team's gear today at fanatics.com.
Thank God it's Fanatics and not like a different horrible company like underwear.
Like Nike.
No, Nike's fine. Phil Knight's got some cash.
Yeah, he's also got some sweatshops.
That's not his problem. Hey,
that's exactly his problem.
Did you guys see Nike going under anytime soon?
I didn't say they were going under. I just said
they're making
they're as horrible as Walmart, basically. But we didn't come here to talk about fucking social justice.
No, we didn't. No, we did not.
So let's recap the workday. First and foremost, special congratulations to Tony Johnson. Throwing darts at Morikawa, and he hits one. That a boy.
Yeah. And Bobby. I mean, Bobby was on him, too. I know that, right after we both mentioned it early on. And we both
but you also drafted him, too, in our draft. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine.
That's the big win. That's the one
That's the real win? Okay, that's the one I should care about. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm no book. You took my money. You took the book of me. So.
That's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Actually, to be honest, I was just paying you with your own money. So.
Rights for a week, too. See how that goes. Yes.
Good Lord.
But this week I got the first pick, so I don't want to screw it up like fucking Token has for the last 2 weeks.
Hey, I've been risking it for the biscuit.
Who'd you pick last week?
Siwoo. He made the cut.
I think all our guys made the cut.
Who did you have, Aaron?
I had John Rahm.
Yeah.
But recapping the workday, again, it was an easier tournament, easier field. Morikawa got the win, and he has more wins than missed cuts, which is a pretty cool stat. But if Workday, the Charity Open, taught us one thing, and Tony, hitting fairways is going to be of great importance because you guys talked about it last week, you and Bobby. The rough is going to be even higher this week. So missed errant tee shots are going to have more penalty to them.
I do think that as a collective group, the four of us understand that the course can very much be changed quite a bit in a short time. But I mean, I'm not sure that everybody else seems to understand this, that a course that is minus 19 with ease is going to win, where it's going to be 7, 8, maybe even more shots worse this week because we can grow out the rough. The greens are going to be a lot faster. And, of course, the tee markers are different. So we know that we're going to play a lot of these holes a lot longer as well. So I think that it's going to be very much a different type of tournament this week. And I'm not exactly sold on the fact that guys that played last week are going to necessarily have an advantage here this week. I know we're going to get to that at some point. I'm sure you're going to bring that up, Aaron. But, yeah, so scrambling was at its lowest point last week at 52%. For the year. So it became a scramble fest at times, especially for the guys that were in and around the cut, or at least trying to make a move in the latter part of Saturday or Sunday. So I think that will continue on this week as well, that we'll see that low number in the low 50% range. And it not only becomes a spot where you got to hit a lot of fairways, but I think when you do miss the greens, getting up and down will be at an absolute premium because it was very difficult even last week.
Yeah, and for the casual bettor, I mean, if you're checking out our podcast and you're looking for things to bet, golf, you've stumbled upon us. Explain, Tony, what scrambling is to them.
Yeah, so scrambling is just a general stat of getting up and down from within 30 yards. So like, and when we say up and down, we mean like, you hit the ball from wherever it's at off the green onto the green, and then you make the putt. So obviously that stat can really vary because if you're 1 inch off of the green, in a fairway lie, that counts as a scramble technically, even if you use a putter. Or if you're 30 yards, in a deep rough lie, that is the same type of thing. So that's why even when we do this, for me personally, I break down scrambling from the rough, from the fairway, from the bunker, and from close range too, from like just off the green. So you get kind of a better idea. But this number is just from within 30 yards, getting up and down from wherever they're at. I do think that the 3 new tee boxes that will now be in use, which is going to make 2 par 4s essentially 30 to 40 yards longer, will certainly have an effect, not necessarily so for longer hitters versus shorter hitters, but it's actually where the rough will come into play. And I have a really interesting number here, actually, that I wanted to share about how the fairways really bottleneck once you go a little bit further from the tee. So from 275 yards out, the average fairway is 33 yards wide. And then from 300 yards out, it's 29 yards wide. And then from 325 yards out, it's 24 yards wide. A significant advantage to be a longer hitter per se this week. So it's an interesting note I saw from MUIRFIELD.
And definitely an interesting note considering this week that Bomberman himself is the favorite. We'll get to those favorites obviously in a second. Speaking of DeChambeau, Rory, Tiger Woods, none of these guys were in the field. We got a strengthened field, Bobby, from last week to this week. And how should we view – this will be for everybody. Bob, you can kick it off. How should we view these players that played last week who are going to play this week? How should we view their performance in handicapping them for the future? Because Morikawa was down to 20-1 after last week's win. But, I mean, you got to admit the field was far, far less difficult than it will be this week.
This week is extraordinarily difficult because we don't know what Tiger is going to look like. BDC is coming off of a week off where he just fresh off a win. And it's not the same course as last week. I look at guys like Morikawa and Victor Hovland. Victor Hovland's playing his 6th week in a row. I know he's like 19 years old or some shit, but sooner or later your body has to get tired of playing all these weeks, practice rounds and everything. So very tough week handicapping-wise because these numbers are also low. I mean, it's going to be very hard to make any money this week.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about 24 rounds of golf with traveling, with practice. I don't care how old you are. That will take a toll on you. And so far, it really hasn't. So it's really curious to see a guy like Hovland. I was looking at his odds, too, as far as performance from last week to this week. But, you know, Token, how should we view these guys? What's your opinion on the way you've been handicapping the players like Morikawa, like Justin Thomas, like Hovland, et cetera, who did play last week, played well? You know, you look at these players, whether they played well or whether they played poorly. If they played well, now they're in a stacked field. If they played poorly, they're still in a stacked field, but they have the advantage of playing the course last week. I mean, how do you factor – it's such a roundabout factoring of your handicapping here, because it's really hard to look at this from all angles. You know, you've got such an unknown, and Bobby mentioned it. You got the Tiger effect this week. There's more eyeballs probably on the TV.
Oh, absolutely. The viewership rating is going to go up. I mean –
the handle's going up.
It's pretty much the Masters this year, it seems like it's going to be, but probably a bigger handle because there's not really any other sports going on right now.
Well, this would have been the Open, correct?
Yeah.
This week? I could be wrong.
Something around this time, yeah. And, I mean, it's going to be monstrous how much action they're taking. I've looked in the last hour of how much the future lines have moved based on certain golfers and all that, and they're going like roller coasters, like unbelievable amounts, like movement up and down and all around. So
yeah, I mean, Tony, you've got to attribute that just to the fact of, I mean, these sports books don't get this kind of handle for the Memorial, even though the Memorial is big to us and on a golf bettor's life, it's a big tournament. But this guy who's looking to degen off some money over at the DraftKings Sportsbook, he doesn't know what he's doing necessarily.
Oh, certainly. I think this week will be the biggest handle week they'll have outside of a major. Yes, major in probably a very long time. And we know that they had a lot at Colonial too. So I'm guessing that when the numbers come out on Monday or so, that we'll see some really, really, really big time stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about it too, but I think the important note that Bobby made is it's a tough week, because I think there's a whole handful of guys that can win, but the problem is those handful of guys are really more of the elite players. I don't think this is a week where there's a lot of long shots that have a decent chance. I mean, to win a tournament at 12 and 13 under on a really tough course, you pretty much have to be on point with this field. So I think it's a tough week. It seems like it would be easier, all this handle, all these numbers moving along, but I'm not necessarily sure it is. It will be. So I agree with that.
All right, so care, don't care, indifference. Tiger Woods is playing this tournament, and like you said, you know, if there's any one player who gets the bulk of the handle, it's Tiger Woods. And we've been talking about it here since he announced he was going to play, which I believe was last Thursday or Friday. And he opened up some spots 30. We talked about opened up some spots at 25, down to 20, down to 15 in some spots. This guy affects TV. I mean, this guy affects the handle. He affects TV. But how I love, Tony, what you said last week, and I really want you to reiterate this to the fans, because sportsbooks, we all know, again, they're probably having the hardest time moving these lines or figuring out these lines. But you have an idea for a sportsbook, even though you're always, as a professional gambler, against the sportsbook, you kind of have an idea for the sportsbook here.
Yeah, so basically my idea was kind of spitballing, but I would do this with a lot of different type of spots, and this is a perfect one. So if I ran a book, I would have set Woods at about 35, knowing that I think the maximum, I'm surprised anybody set him over 25, to be honest with you, at least to start. We knew that number would come down. But I set him at 35, and I wouldn't move that number, and I would take as much handles as I could take, dollar amount or funds or however much we were willing to lose for that week. So maybe it's at 500,000, 600,000, $1 million in case he wins, but it's extremely unlikely that he wins the event. So I think we want to take excessive amounts of handle as much as we can and take it away from everybody else, because there's just tons of money to be made on this, I think. So that's what I would have done.
So there you go. I mean, like I said, sportsbook thinks freaking Tiger's got no shot. I mean, you're right. Set them out 35-1. Let everybody dump their unemployment checks towards you. And,
yes, all of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
that's
I think,
the goal.
And you're right. Even if you stand to lose $1 million, 1.5, I think you're still going to get action from other guys. who don't win. It's like every futures tickets. Just as much as you pay out, you're probably going to bring in the others. So I think that's an interesting thought process. And when you brought it up, even if you were spitballing, I thought it was a great idea. So I wanted you to kind of share that. So, all right. So we are going to get into the picks here. Enough chat. We're going to have to make some picks here. Before we do, sponsors. So if you're watching us on Zingo TV, we appreciate it. Channel 761. If you don't have Zingo TV and you're watching us on YouTube or on the Vegas Squares website, please sign up for Zingo TV. It is a streaming service on your iPhone, Android device, smart TV, Roku stick, etc. You get a free account when you use promo code 120Z. Again, 100% free. Download Zingo TV from your app store or on your smart TV today. Catch our show and the rest of the 12-ounce shows on channel 761. Also, another one of our brand new sponsors, DC4L Custom T-shirts. This is a pretty cool sponsor because I've never seen the kind of work that they do. They do direct-to-garment printing, which is different than your typical screen burning, where basically, if you've ever had an idea for a T-shirt but had to order in bulk at a fair price, you usually kind of skip doing that. They have changed the game when doing this. No design fees. You can put your idea on 1 to 1 million of their great apparel options with no fees and no bulk order requirements. You can visit their website today. Tell them the Vegas Square sent you. It is DC4LCustomTees.com. Please tell them we sent you. Brand new sponsor. Show them some love. We appreciate it. And all right, boys, it's picks time. As we do every week, we go favorites, we go middle clump, we go long shots. So we're going to start with the faves. Bryson DeChambeau at 9-1, all the way down to Matsuyama at 30-1. Matsuyama played pretty well last weekend at the Workday Charity Open. He's another guy to look at here as far as, performance last week, performance this week. Token, you're going to start us off here, my friend. The first clump, the favorites. What are we looking at here?
Nobody. The only person I would maybe possibly sniff would be Morikawa. But I don't like the value at 22-1. Even with JT's moved down to 13-1, up from 10-1, I like that a little better, but nobody.
Well, that was an anticlimactic start.
That is shocking, too. No, but it's actually some interesting information.
All right, Bobby, what do you got?
Couldn't disagree more. I have an absolute stone cold lock in this group this week. Rory McIlroy is winning by over 4 strokes. He is going to blow this field away. It's Rory at 12-1, and there are no other bets. You can bet top 5s, top 10s, but Rory wins this week. No question.
You can catch him at William Hill right now at 15-1, Rory McIlroy. So even better odds.
You're in the wrong state, Bobby.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Let me see them. 14-1 on mybookie.ag. So yeah, you gotta get away from Illinois. They
I got a flight tomorrow. I got a flight tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'll be there at 10. 8 p.m. by 11 o'clock, baby.
In the kiosk, money in the kiosk, baby. So, all right, Tony. We've got one pick total from 2 guys.
So I'll start it out here. I'm just going to go ahead and get this over with. I'll echo the sentiment of Rory McIlroy here. However, I am very careful with this number because, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of betting faves, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, favorites in large field golf tournaments, not necessarily ideal. But the second point, I think the most important point, is that when you get numbers this low and then you get a first round, which could be a middling type of round or even really a good round, that number is not going to move very much if you're looking to bet after the first round. They put future bets up after the first round. You might be able to steal a number that's much higher than this. To me, I think the strategy, or at least the strategy I'm going to employ, is to put a little bit on Rory here, because I'm with you, Bobby. I think Rory is probably the guy to beat here. But even at 15-1, a little bit right now at 15, let's see what develops in the first round, and then we can add more to that if he gets to 20, 25, 30-1 after that. You can get some real juice there, and that's kind of what I'm looking towards. So a little bit to start with Rory. Yep, and then
let me focus on that here real quick. But
of course, absolutely.
What happens when the field goes? What happens when the field goes 4 under the leader after 1, and Rory's 6-7 shots? Say he shoots 3 over, and he is 30-40-1. I mean, that's a
he'll be more than that. He'll be way more than 30-1 if he's 3 or 4 over, and then the leader's at 4 under.
He'll be more.
If he's 7 back, I would say at most his number would be 50.
Okay, yeah, 50 is a lot different than 30. he will be higher, way higher than 30. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, fair. All right, continue.
Then you pass, and if you want to pass, you pass, which is also a nice thing because you've only put a small amount right now early on. So if you end up passing, and he ends up missing the cut or finishing in 40th, then you don't lose a whole lot either. So that's another reason why I like this strategy in this play. Although it could backfire, because if Bobby's right and he shoots 8 under to start and wins wire to wire, then you don't win nearly as much as you should win, and you feel like an asshole. So there's that too. That's my goal. That's my goal in this, but I'm going to start and put a little bit on the 15, yes, because I think 15 is too high. My number is 12 for Rory. So if I see him at 15, I want to bet 15.
Okay, fair enough. What else you got in that?
So John Rahm opened at William Hill at 25. That number is just beyond wrong. So my number for John Rahm is only 20. I love what we saw on Sunday. His ball striking has improved immensely that last weekend. And when he gets it going, putting-wise, another guy that's not a great putter, but when he gets it going, he can be tough to beat. But it's just he opened at 25. So I hit the 25. It's now down to wherever it's down to, 15 on William Hill, 18, 19 in other places. I'm happy with the 25. It's not necessarily something I love, but he had to be bet based on the number. And the third guy I like in this grouping is Xander Schauffele, who I know we've been on before. He opened at 30 in a few places, and I grabbed the 30 right away. I just didn't think he was going to ever move up higher than that. And now he's down to mostly 24, 25 in a lot of spots. So I feel good about that. Xander, again, I think peaking at the right time, another great weekend. He made the cut on the number, had to make a difficult birdie on 18 to get there, and then soared on the weekend and played really well. I love that. Xander can change to a course on a dime. He loves greens that are fast. I don't usually have guys early on in this whole group, but I have 3 this week.
Now, Schauffele, he's a great golfer. Guy can put everything together, but he hasn't won in 18 months. It seems like he might be due here.
I mean, maybe. I don't necessarily see it like that. I mean, he's just a great player that has had a lot of good showings. He's had 3 top 20s since the restart. So he's been playing well. So I'm
not saying he's not playing well. I'm just saying, putting into the futures market a guy who hasn't won in 18 months is to use token. It could go either way here. He's just not getting to the pinnacle, but he's definitely a guy to look for in maybe other facets, matchup bets, etc. So
the thing with Xander is, like, I got him at 25-1. Now this week I'm not looking at anyone besides Rory McIlroy, but when you go through the numbers, I saw Xander at 25-1. Now Xander can go and throw 4 straight darts. Knock it into 8 feet, knock it into 6 feet, birdie, birdie, birdie. And then he'll double bogey a par 5 with some dumb shit. That's the thing that's brutal about Xander. He can look like he's lights out, and then he decides he wants to watch the Flintstones or some shit and lets it go for a hole. That's why Xander hasn't won. Too many of those hiccups.
It's true. No, it's pretty true. I know he didn't come in 100% there, but yeah, no. But what you're saying, Bobby, is right. And again, I watched the guy play as a junior. I was I worked at the club that he grew up at, and I saw the same things even as a junior. He can throw darts, and yet he will have a brain fart here and there. What I like though is the short game is so improved, and his putting has gotten so much better that I can't see these big numbers continuing on for that much longer. I just don't think it's going to happen. His putting is the best part of his game right now, and that's shocking to say that because he's a ball striker. So, I just feel like he's really ready to go and just primed. And we're not going to. And if he has another great showing, we're not going to see him at 30 ever again. So I like the spot here.
Now, you guys talk about this. The winning score may be 8, 9, 10 under par, but we've seen it time and time again. We've got winners: Kuchar, Woods, Matsuyama, Duffner, DeChambeau. Last year we had Cantley. I mean, 12 and under or higher, basically, other than Tiger Woods in that spot.
It's 11 this week.
Can Schauffele do that if he has to?
Absolutely. I mean, he's good enough of a ball striker. He hits what he's looking at. He can definitely climb to 18, 19, 20 under on any course. It's not going to be this week. This course is going to play a whole lot tougher this week. I think 11 under is your winner this week.
Token, Xander Schauffele has what you and I like to refer to as blow-up holes, because we have a few of those on the course as well.
I'm
usually good for 2 or 3 8s.
Yeah, I was going to say a line of 2.5 for me.
So the guy I'm looking at in this spot, and my pro tips last week did not fan out so well, so I'm not going to go fully in depth here with these. Just the guy I like, playing well since the restart, and that's Webb Simpson. He's currently 20-1 at William Hill. Just a solid player. He's a guy in this field that when he does win, he seems to be the unspoken guy, the guy that no one's talking about, the guy that there's no focus on, who just has 4 solid rounds, 4 or 5 under par, 3, 4 under par. 20-1, I'll take him in this field. I don't necessarily love the odds, but if I'm going to take somebody in this clump, I kind of like Webb Simpson. Playing well, a guy who can kind of fly under the radar this week, especially with all the coverage that's going to be on Rory, on JT, on Tiger, etc. So, all right, so the middle tier here, we've got everything from Daniel Berger at 40-1. I took it down to your boy, your last week boy, Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's at 85-1. So I kind of use that matrix as the second middle tier here. A guy I've been looking at here in this spot at 80-1 who's been playing well since the restart is Kevin Streelman. I don't know if he's going to win, but he probably is this way because he's probably got this number because he's been playing well. And I may be able to catch him kind of with Tony Johnson's theory, catch a little bit at 80 and maybe hope, he's somewhere between 10 and 20. Maybe I can get a similar number in that, or maybe a little higher number, and with the Rory situation. And maybe he's in contention on Sunday. So Kevin Streelman's the guy I've been looking at here. Bobby, I know you said balls to the wall with Rory McIlroy, but is there anybody in this spot you see?
Actually, we were talking beforehand about making. I'm going to start venturing out into a few more top 10 and top 10 or top 5 and top 10 bets. And Billy Horschel. I like Billy Horschel. He's 70-1 to win the tournament, but you can probably get maybe 18 or 22 in there or something like that for a top 5 or a top 10. I mean, Billy Horschel started horse shit last week. I think he was 4 over after 5 holes or something like that, and winds up with I think it was a top 15 or so. So Billy Horschel, he's got that. He's a former FedEx Cup champion, so it's not going to be too big of a scenario for him. I like Billy Horschel, 70-1.
Fair enough. All right, Token, what do you got?
Horschel's 85-1 on William Hill, but I actually kind of like that pick as well. I'm going with a European, Bobby, as you said.
Yeah, baby.
Sergio, I like him at 80. Also one that I'm kind of considering betting, though I don't really like the number that much, is Abraham Answer at 40-1. If he does get in trouble, he's second best of the season to get scrambling percentage. So I really like his opportunities to get up and down in tough situations and all that. And he's found a lot of greens, though, too. So
to finish with Bobby there, sorry. You can catch Billy Horschel on my bookie at 3.5-1 to T20 in this.
That's not bad. I don't mind that at all. And I love the Answer pick, by the way, too. You can get him for 45-1 to win the tournament here in Illinois at Bet Rivers. Okay. So 45-1 is not bad at all. I mean, he was throwing darts before he took a week off or whatever. So I love the Answer pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of the better golfers in GIR percentage in the last 5 weeks for sure. Just whether his putting connects or not is the biggest question with him.
All right. Middle tier, Tony.
Yeah, I got just one guy here, and I bet it just based on number. I thought this was just a number that was wrong, and it's still very high here at Westgate. But Paul Casey opened up at 85, which was the best number, I think, in the world for a while, and he's down to 80 now. But I still think there's some value there at 80. I mean, I made the number at 70 for him, so this is just kind of a play of where it is. The issue with Paul Casey, as it's always been, is he just is not much of a closer. He's never really closed very well. He's never won a lot of, he's not won big tournaments. The only thing I like in this day is, as we've all talked about, is how difficult the course is going to play and how it's not a 20 under type of week. And that's where Paul does his best work in spots like that. He came back a couple of weeks ago for the first time in the restart and played pretty well. That's some of my issues with some of these guys. I'm looking at Abraham Answer. But I'm a little bit worried that the moment might get too big for him in spots like this. If he's head-to-head with Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas, on a Sunday, I'm just not sure that he can get through those guys doing that. But I think Paul Casey can if he gets his head together. So that's the only spot I like here. There is nobody else in this number that I like, and there's not a whole lot of people I like long shot wise either, like usual. So I'm a little bit limited here this week in that regard.
And to expand on that, Abe Answer's been shooting 20 under and a couple easy tracks. This place is quite a bit more difficult. So
Yeah.
greens are going to be faster, and if you don't hit what you're looking at, instead of having the 10 to 12 feet when you miss your approaches, they turn into 25, 30 footers, or you're off the green. And that's death at Jack's place when they're running fast.
True.
Yeah, the greens are definitely going to be upgraded this week for sure. All right, well, we got a couple of long shots here. Let's move into the long shots presented by Pro-Am Customs, another new sponsor that we got. We've been busy this week, boys. Customized golf clubs are not just for the pros. They are for everyone. At Pro-Am Customs, the only limit is your imagination. You guys checked them out on Instagram. They had VGK. They had freaking, what's that cartoon, that Japanese cartoon, Dragon Ball Z. They had some pretty cool ones. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but message Pro-Am Customs on Instagram. Their handle is at Pro-Am Customs. Tell Kevin the Vegas Square sent you. And he also has a YouTube channel called PACFORETRAVEL, PACFORE Travel. We're going to have him on the next podcast to kind of talk about both of those. Newest sponsor, again, Pro-Am Customs. Find them on Instagram at Pro-Am Customs and tell them we sent you. All right.
Yeah, I definitely like this Maverick Mizuno wedge that he customized for sure.
Of course.
That was my favorite.
Anything Top Gun, you get your rocks off. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good movie.
And now to the long shots. Token, we'll let you start.
This is definitely the cream of the crop in my mind. I like Kisner at 90 right now, but I think he's going.
Kisner money.
But I think he's going to go down to 100 by the time tee-off happens, so I'm going to hold off on him a little. I grabbed Phil right before he dropped about an hour ago. I got him at 175 to 1. He's down to 125.
Wow. Another
one I really like this week, and Christine's mystery pick of the week is Brennan Todd.
She just came up with that?
I handed her my phone. I'm like, pick one of these golfers.
Like, what's the name of the guy I wish I was dating?
No, she's like, you think Tugger has a shot? And I'm like, fuck no. And she's like, scrolled down and was like, I'll take Brennan Todd. That was at 150. He's down to 175.
Wow. Interesting.
He's number 2 this year in fairway hit accuracy and number 12 in scrambling too. So, and that's for
he's got 2 wins. I mean, he's had a great year, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that pick at all.
I don't either.
He might drop down to 200 for long if he does. So.
All right, Tony, what do you got?
Yeah, so I have made only one wager here, and it will make Bobby happy. And there is 100 out there on Kevin Kisner, if you look. So I did grab the 100 on Kisner. Bobby said it best, actually, last week when things came together for Kisner, back in the Rocket Mortgage, when he had his instructor flown out there, got his swing together. When things come together for Kisner, there is no track he can't win at. And you can't say that about, every golfer in this field. This is a really strong 132-player field. And again, it's a guy that has no fear of the moment. I like him here at 100. Or Shane Lowry at 150. It looks like he's finally starting to get his ball striking back together. And 150 is always a kind of a nice number for a dude that's number 30 in the world that can really play. Zach Johnson at 225 to 1. He's had a couple of consecutive top 30s in a row. He's got a decent record here. Again, it's a pretty long number. And then Hatong Lee at 300 to 1. He's been unseen since the restart. We don't know what's been going on. He's now living here, not in China. He's been here for a while. So I don't know what he's been playing at or what's happening. But he's won some big tournaments. He won the Dubai Desert Classic a couple years ago, head-to-head against Rory. A guy like that, I just don't know where his game's at. So that's why I haven't, made the bet yet. But 300 to 1 on that quality of a player is certainly intriguing.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention Zach Johnson. He's literally, I don't know if you can see it, literally the only guy I got written down. 225 to 1.
Nice. Yeah.
Only long shot I had. It's funny. I thought I was going to find him little diamond in the rough. I don't like anything in this area because you're right. Yeah. This field is so stacked. You basically pick one or two that you like, throw 10, 15 bucks on them, and pray you got a sweat on Sunday, but your money needs to be going in on some of these other guys. Actually, some of that spot too, if you want, if you're going to double down on some of these guys, if Jack Johnson does have a good week or Hatong, these T20s, these T10s, these T5s, they might be where he's at, especially you can catch some pretty good odds for these guys on my bookie. I think a Zach Johnson T5, I want to say, is like 50 to 1. I have to check on that really here again. It might actually be more than that.
I got a couple of bombers this week that I took a look at for T10 bets. And the first one is a former major champion, Danny Willett, at 125. I mean, the moment isn't going to be too big for him. He's won at Augusta, and there's nowhere else to win besides Augusta. So I like Danny Willett at 125. And another guy who hits it in the middle, and if his putter gets hot, can do some things, Ryan Moore at 175. He can't hit his ass with both hands with the flat stick. But when Ryan Moore finds a way to figure things out, even besides that dumb hat, he can get hot. So Ryan Moore at 175.
And Danny Willett had a very quiet 4th place at the Rocket Mortgage. Now, I don't think anybody even really remembers, but he was 4th in that tournament. He's been playing some golf. So, yeah.
Nobody remembers.
Well, yeah, I know you. I'm not surprised to hear that, Bobby.
All right, so let's get into some matchup bets here because I know Token loves the matchups. We'll get into some matchups.
Before we get to the matchups, can I give you my miscut of the week that is going to make everybody call me a clown on our –
Well, we were going to get to the make cut, miscut, but you know what? Since you've advertised it spectacularly graceful. Yeah. All right, let's hear it. What do we got?
Now, you got to remember, I'm currently in Rockford, Illinois, so they offer the miscut, make cut. And at plus 600, Bryson DeChambeau misses this week's cut. You heard it here first. Bryson's going to pull out that long stick, and instead of just firing it over and hitting it into the woods and stuff like that where you can find it, there's water and shit at Jack's place. I think Bryson DeChambeau misses this week's cut. You heard it here first.
Plus 600 at Westgate, too. Yeah. Plus 600 at Westgate as well. He is. Yeah.
My bookie,
I think
my bookie's got him at 5.5 to 1.
Yeah, I think 6 to 1 is a fair number, and I would be on that side as well. I'm definitely not laying, minus 900.
I feel like I'd want a better number with that. I feel like he's good enough to stay. He may not be relevant this weekend, but he's good. I feel like for him to miss the cut would be a horrible weekend. I would want more. I would want better odds. I'm not saying that's not a good bet, but I feel like I would want somewhere around 8.
He struggles out of the sand, and he's probably going to struggle out of the rough when he finds it. That's why I like that number.
Fair enough. You're right. He's got the biggest number to miss the cut because he is the favorite. Him and Justin Thomas also has 5.5 as well here on my bookie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's flip. Let's flip the script a little bit. We'll save the matchup bets. We'll flip over to the make and miss cuts. Anybody else have any of those?
So, yes, props are very important, at least in my world, and it's nice to see that it's being treated like a major, basically, with all these make and miss cut prop lines being shown. So I've looked at a few of them. I haven't bet on any of them. The one I was surprised by is Woods opened at the yes at minus 300 at Westgate, and now he was down to minus 240 at one point to make the cut. So I was surprised. I thought that number would go the opposite direction, but that was surprising to see.
He's plus 270 to miss the cut in my bookie.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, there's some play there. Some definite arbitrage potentially. But the only two guys, and this is going to be controversial too. I guess I'll make a controversial statement here. I am not a fan of Morikawa or Justin Thomas this week. And while I like both of these guys, and I mean, even had Morikawa last week, I would be fading the hell out of Morikawa this week. And so I'm intrigued by the Morikawa make the cut at around plus 375, and Justin Thomas at plus 550. Those I'm intrigued by. And Thomas has missed a couple cuts here before, so that would not be unprecedented either.
I like that miscut at 550 for Justin Thomas for sure.
Yeah,
he's super streaky, and you're right. The previous lack of success here kind of helps me in that. That's probably a good bet. I think he might not make the weekend. All right, well, let's move to the matchup bets. Token, your matchup man. What you got?
Oh, I've got a few on this list. I've got them bet individually and parlayed already. On William Hill, I took Mickelson even against Bubba Watson. I think Mickelson, if he finds some very strange situations like he normally does, he will be able to prevail from that. And even money against Bubba, I mean, Bubba, he's probably going to struggle this week out of bad situations. It's going to be that thick rough. Bubba does not hit well that thick rough, so I like him at that value for sure. Another one is Kuchar against Streelman. I like the value on it. I got it at plus 105. I like Sergio minus 110 against Mark Leishman. And Jason Day even against Justin Rose.
I've learned my lesson on betting against Cooch.
Yeah.
Hope Bobby got his PayPal there.
Yes, I did. I actually upgraded my flight seat with it. Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Hey, one's too good. Good.
Get the extra 8 inches of leg room.
Hey, I'm a tall guy. 8 inches means a lot to me.
So how about how you work it?
That's right.
All right, what else you got, Token? Was that it?
That's it for me so far. I'm sure more to come, but right now that's it.
All right, Bobby, you've been dipping your toes in the matchups. You've been a little bit all over the non-futures bets here. What about this week?
I've been on vacation, so I've been doing a little bit of studying. But I got Patrick Cantlay plus 125 against Bryson DeChambeau here in Illinois, and I don't think BDC is going to make the cut. So I got Cantlay plus 125 beating Bryson. I think I took Koepka. Koepka was against somebody else as well. I forgot who it was. I didn't write it down.
Rahm, I think.
Is that who it is? Okay. Well, I circled the Cantlay pick because I don't think Bryson's going to make the cut.
Yeah, one guy I got here, guys, is
Koepka against Tiger is what I see.
I got a Koepka Rahm here on bookie. One I see, I bet already even money, piggybacking off of Webb. I got Webb over Matsuyama again, a guy who played really well last week. Matsuyama is minus 115 here. I'm going to take the even money. I'm going to take Webb Simpson again. I think of the front clump, I think he's a sneaky dark horse. Even at 20-1, I think he might be a sneaky dark horse to win this one. So obviously the guy who's lowest under par is definitely going to win any matchup bets. So I'm going to take Webb Simpson and even money.
Yep, I got 2 that I've made and a couple I'm considering. So we'll start with what we've made. Paul Casey over Ian Poulter. This I've already talked about Paul Casey, but this is more against Ian Poulter. Poulter finished, I believe, in the top 5 or very close to last week, and that was solely 100% because of putting. He was 11 shots better than the field over 4 rounds with the flat stick. He had some real putting numbers. Poulter, yes, he's known for being a good putter. He's known for his Ryder Cup heroics, but this is the fucking Ryder Cup, and I don't care. And putting can come and go like that, and it's a guy that I am fading hard. Wherever I can find Poulter, I am fading his ass this week. So the fact that we can get Paul Casey, he was plus 105. He now I believe might be the favorite on William Hill. So kudos to them making that change there on the line. But we have Paul Casey over Poulter plus 105. Considering Koepka over Woods, I know you brought up Koepka. I think Koepka's a little bit under-talked about this week. He was a late entry on Friday, made a really big run on Friday, 6 birdies in his last 8 holes to try to make the cut, and then was an entry into this week. I think there's something there to that. And, I've not been a big fan of Brooks so far since the restart, but there might be something here. I'm not going to be against Brooks in this spot. And my 125 against Woods, this will, of course, excite me, is Kevin Kisner over Mark Leishman. Kisner plus 110 at Westgate.
Leishman's playing crap.
I don't know what they're doing with this stuff. Why the hell is Kisner a dog against Leishman? Leishman is in the bottom 30 in driving accuracy since the restart, and he's in the bottom 15 in approach to the green from the rough. So let's add those up. If you're missing fairways at a high clip, and you can't hit the green, or at least you're not close at all when you hit the green from the rough, that does not bode well, especially in a week like this. He's had no time off now, firing back at this course. I don't think Leishman's on it right now. He's had a great year so far, nothing against that, but now is not the time. And we can get a guy like Kisner, who is now starting to fire on all cylinders at plus 110. Crazy. We'll take it.
That is a lot of action, gentlemen. We got a lot. What is that Rounders quote? Lot of action.
Lot of action. We haven't even done top 5, 10, or 20 stuff yet. I mean, there's more to go.
And don't forget about Corn Perry.
We got Corn Ferry action. There's tons of stuff.
Well, we will get to.
I'm not doing Corn Ferry.
That's okay. There's no expectations from you for the Corn Ferry. But before we do get into that, I do have to say, if you are tired of the same old bag of bland beef jerky, please grab a bag of Wicked Cuts today. The most tender jerky you can get your hands on. 2 new flavors have arrived: Applewood Smoked and Token.
The Carolina Killer.
Carolina Killer. Pick up a bag today at wickedcuts.co. Check the promo code SQUARES20, which will be right over Tony Johnson's face. You get 20% off of your order using the promo code SQUARES20 at checkout at wickedcuts.co. All right, so let's jump into these. We've got finishing bets and we've got the draft. I hope you boys have been brainstorming. Finisher bets. Tony, you talked about this, so I'll let you lead the way.
So I'm a no better, as you know. I don't bet on a lot of these yeses. Again, this is just more so for prop betting in general, prop betting 101. I bet a lot of no's. I bet a lot of the stuff that's uncomfortable, the stuff that people don't want any part of. I love. I love the trenches. I love the shit. So I'm gonna throw a couple of guys here, and these are the guys that I've talked about that I don't like very much. So Justin Thomas does not get in the top 10. Minus 150. He opened at 160. I was waiting for this to kind of trickle down. It did, and I hit it right away. I didn't wait any longer. Maybe I'm stubborn. I don't know. Minus 150 for Thomas, not to top 10. The second one here is Tiger Woods to not top 20. I think it's just an equal chance, if not more, that he just doesn't have it together at all in a really tough field on a tough course. And I'd rather have the extra added odds here at no top 20 versus a top 10 or top 5. So I like him minus 150. Justin Thomas, no top 20 plus 145. Again, the miscut potential factor. Morikawa, no top 20 minus 135. And considering Victor Hovland, minus 145 for a no top 20. The only guy I would feature 2 top 5, 10 or 20 based on their numbers, because I don't think Rory's numbers are very good. If you're going to bet Rory here, to me, it's bet to win. I don't like betting Rory on top 5s and 10s because you're just not getting a lot of value. And as Bobby said, he can lap the field by 5 shots. He's that good. So,
once again, I did have the big Bryson DeChambeau at missing the cut at plus 600, and I am going to bet that because I really think he's going to struggle this week. And I've just been kicking around since we've been talking here, and Victor Hovland is on week number 7 in a row. I mean, sooner or later, this kid's got to get tired, right? I mean, sooner or later, he's got to get tired and miss a cut. I don't know what the number is. I didn't look it up, but Vic has got to be getting gassed.
Let's see what we got here.
plus 300 out here to miss the cut. Bobby, plus 300 to miss. Okay, my bookie 350. There you go. Not enough?
You've got some options.
Yeah, it's close. No, I'm with you. It's close, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, be honest with you, instead of just taking that money and betting it on Vic, being tired at plus 300, I'd probably just go ahead and throw that on Bryson. I'm that hard on Bryson this week.
Based on the value of each of those bets, I definitely like BDC and to miss the cut over Hovland.
Well, you can fire a little bit on BDC and Justin Thomas. They're pretty neck and neck there, especially all the energy that was expelled by Thomas, or even Morikawa at 3.5 to 1 here on my book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about how he's had more wins than cuts. This might be a spot where he evens that out.
Could be. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tiger Woods plus 270 to miss the cut. A guy I'm looking at and I'm solely basing this on last week. I don't know if I'm going to fire this, but plus 210 to miss the cut, Justin Rose. Dude fucking laid the biggest of it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. What do you think the cut line's going to be here on Friday? 2 over? 2
Good
over?
question.
I
don't know.
Even minus 1?
No.
Yeah.
I'm thinking plus 1.
No,
I would say it's
low.
plus. I would say it's plus.
Really?
Even
I'm still going to say minus. I'm going to say minus 1.
Dude, what do you think the second round leader is going to be? 7, 8 under?
I think they're all going to be bunched. It's going to be 65 guys with the number being minus 1. You know what I mean? It's going to be real close, and there's going to be a lot of minus 2, minus 3, the fucking coocher, as I call it, who does nothing but patty cake his way to another minus 1. Hey, nice round, man. 16.
Good living, baby. It's a good living.
You know, just guys like that, like the Ryan Moores of the world, who are just going to dunk it down there and hope to make a putt every now and again and stay right in that minus 2 to minus 4 range, but they can't win the tournament.
Let's not forget how good this field is, too. Remember how many of the top 50 players in the world are here. I'm going higher than everybody. I'm going to say the cut is minus 2. I think there's a lot of great players in this field. So remember, they're taking top 65 out of 132 players. So remember, they're taking top 65 out of 132 players. So it's a little bit easier to make the cut this week than it might be in other weeks based on numbers in that part. Although the field trade. So I'm going -2. How about that?
I'll say even par.
Okay. All right. There we go. We got our predictions.
All right, Token. What do you got for finisher bets?
Okay, so I've got actually quite a bit of bets on this. I have answer top 5, top 10, and top 20 on this.
Wow.
Top 5
I
is
like
top 5 8-1, top 10 9-2, so plus 450, and top 20 plus 220. Another person top 10. I'm kind of hesitant to bet right now, but it's on the radar is Morikawa at plus 225. But this one I like a lot more though is top 10 for Kisner plus 750.
Babe.
And top 20 at plus 350. And then one last bet on this one. Top 20 by lefty at 5-1.
Ooh, I like that. He could make a little Cinderella story.
Absolutely.
You better bring everything he has. That's all I can say. You better have it all.
He's definitely a weasel, and he can find it.
He can.
What's 20th place going to be at? About 6 under, 7 under?
Okay. Yeah.
It could be
I would say around the 6.
7.
I think Phyllis could be around 6 on Sunday.
He has the fairways and bunches. You're just fucked.
You know how much gap I was working with? You don't want to know how much gap I was working with.
All right, boys. It's time to draft. You guys ready?
All right. What's the order? I don't even know what it is.
You're last.
No, you're not last, actually.
Wait, how did he not last? He won last week.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
That's
work
not how
like
that works.
Yeah.
It's a rotation. I am first.
Pure rotational. Yeah.
I am first. Tony is second. Token is third, and Bobby, you are bringing up the rear.
Well, what we could do is we could do a four round rotation, and then after that we could just do it based on how the finish is from that week. If you want,
that's fine. Everybody had a chance to draft first. I'm fine.
You want to do that? That makes some sense. I kind of agree with Bobby. That makes a little sense.
Better.
Okay. All right. I like that too. Actually.
We still have 2 weeks of this. So all right. So with the first pick in the Memorial Tournament draft, the host selects Webb Simpson.
That's fine. I mean, he can win. That's fine. I can't hate on that. He can win. That's fine.
All right, Tony, you're up.
Man, there's going to be a lot of pleasure here just to really just ram it right in Bobby's face. But I have no choice. I have no choice. He's the best player in the field, Bobby. He's the absolute worst. I am. Yes, and I like it. I will maintain my worstness. I have to go with McIlroy. He's the best player in the field. I have to. Yeah, you know what? I don't feel bad about it. I did feel a little bit. Now I don't feel bad. No, I feel fine. Good. I hope he wins.
My pick for this week is Abraham Answer.
You think?
Yeah, you're all over.
You're cupping the balls, dude.
Well, it was between him and Brendan Todd, so.
I
am not joking about that.
I tell you what, I obviously they would have to approve it too, but I'll give you 25 if you take Brendan Todd and he's the best.
Ooh.
We'll let him do it.
Anybody's capable of this shit. No, not agreement. Not an agreement.
Dude, Token's gifted us 2 weeks. Let him have it. He's giving us Siwoo and Jason Day. Let him have it.
Got a good point there.
All right, fine. They said no. I was going to give you a $75 a week there.
No, you can choose anybody you want. He's decided to choose Jason Day and Siwoo. That's fine. Siwoo can win at any given fucking moment too, so that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Siwoo.
He can win the week that got canceled.
Yeah, but I mean, he can also just randomly miss a cut and shoot like 7 over one round, which he did on Sunday, which is acceptable too. We know that about Siwoo. So yeah,
Siwoo, he probably drove to Silvis, Illinois, and tried to play the John Deere. He just forgot what the hell he was doing.
That would be a Siwoo move. Yeah, classic Siwoo.
We're operational right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, according to Siwoo, he'll go anywhere. He doesn't care. It just doesn't matter.
All right, Bobby, Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. Well, obviously, my pick would have to be Kevin. It's Bryson DeChambeau. If I'm going to lose my money when he makes the listens the cut, I'm at least going to beat you turds out of $30. Take that. Bryson DeChambeau.
Wow, nice.
I'm plus 600. I'm going with Bryson.
What a politician. He's got Bryson to win the draft and miss the cut.
That is ridiculous, yeah.
Good Lord.
So as Bryson finishes, he's going to finish 60th now, right? So you get the best of both worlds. Yes, almost.
Oh, how about that middle? That would be a gross.
Yes.
Makes the cut and finishes.
Makes the cut on the number and finishes like last. Yeah.
I am rooting for that middle.
I can't believe you just took DeChambeau. I can't believe you just did that. That's ridiculous. Wow.
I thought there was no way he was taking DeChambeau.
I thought that was one of the last guy I would have expected. Wow.
I thought he would take Thomas instead of Bryson.
Fuck Justin Thomas. He's exhausted. After having that lead and blowing it, he might go minus 3, minus 2, and then shoot 75-75 on the weekend. I don't want no part of Justin Thomas.
I mean, it was so gross how he made that 50-foot putt, and then Morikawa comes back and answers with his 25-footer.
25-footer, yeah, that was crazy.
Amazing stuff.
So, all right, well, we got another draft round in the books here, our $10 draft round. We got one more round of this style, and then what was the agreed upon?
We'll just go in order for how they finish. Yeah.
Yeah, how you finished the week before. So if you win 3 weeks in a row, you get pick number 1, week number 4.
So Wait, what? You win, you get the – yeah, I feel like that just changed.
No, it's however you finish in the tournament, you pick the following week.
Okay. So if you're the top of the leaderboard, then you pick first, second, we'll pick second, third, fourth.
Right. Or we can invert it if you guys like that.
I would say.
I thought we were inverting. Yeah,
I would say worst finish we get the first pick.
That's fine.
I think that's only really right because somebody just gets on a run, people are going to be pissed off.
Yeah, the Super Bowl champion doesn't pick first every year.
Yeah, I think it should be inverted. I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right, let's invert. I'm in on that too.
All right, fucking A. We're gonna lock it up. All right, well, let's thank the last of the sponsors. Also want to promote some shows here on 12 Ounce. If you listen to fantasy football shows hosted by yahoos with no insight, well, then Talkman Radio Show is not for you. Talkman Radio is a live fantasy football discussion for those special degenerates that can take the heat. Talkman Radio live, 6 p.m. Eastern every Friday, only on 12 Ounce Sports and Zingo TV. So, all right, boys, Jack's tournaments. I think we got to get together and watch the least on Sunday here. So hopefully Bobby will be back and not stuck in Illinois.
I'm back, baby. Back tomorrow. Flight lands at 10:30. I'm in the 702.
You disgust me, Bryson DeChambeau, lover-hater.
That's what I get for taking Rory. Rory wins by 3 strokes this week.
It was 4 at the beginning of the show. What happened?
I thought it was 5.
The number moved.
What about Corn Ferry? 4 that I like this week on Corn Ferry. 1 that I have bet so far, and that is Taylor Pinderth at 40-1. I also like Lipsky at 35. Another one is Ryan McCormick, who I had last week that finished pretty well as well, but just kind of out of that run. He's at 65. Another one at 65 I like is Josh Teeter.
Right on. We got Corn Ferry picks, boys. What a podcast. We got a mini major and Corn Ferry picks out the ass there.
Variety action.
There you go.
Wonderful.
AKA D-Jenning.
Get your D-Gen on. That'd be the hashtag. Risk it for the biscuit, right?
Absolutely. Damn straight.
So, all right. Well, let's wrap it up here again. We got, again, Jack's tournament, second of 2 weeks here at MUIRFIELD Country Club or Village, MUIRFIELD Village Golf Club, whatever the fuck they call it. And, all right. So any parting words? I know tokens are Abraham answer for the win.
Brennan Todd, actually.
Oh, yeah. Bigger value. Sure. Fair enough.
More important in the household, I would guess, too. So, yes.
Yeah. Yes. What would that say? Should we put the girlfriend on next week if Brennan Todd comes in?
Yeah.
There'd have to be something. There'd have to be something that would happen. Yeah, I would think so.
Get rid of Token and switch him with his girlfriend.
There you go. Yeah, even that is fine. Yeah.
She'd have picked more winners than he has. She'd have picked more winners than he had by that point. So.
Fair enough.
No, we're in a good spot here. I think this leading up into the PGA Championship coming up in about 3 weeks' time. We got a dual event in 2 weeks, so those are my favorite weeks. I like those almost better than the majors. When we have a WGC and then we have a second tier event on the PGA Tour. I love those weeks. Again, just for all of the action that can be had.
Nice. All right, well, great. And let's wrap it up here. For Bobby Digital, for Token Tony, for Tony Johnson, I am Aaron. We appreciate you listening. Drive for show, bet for dough. I think that's the one right there.
I like that one.
Yeah,
it's not the name of the podcast. That's just my tagline. We'll catch you on the next one.
Okay.
We will catch you on the next one. We're out.